Hi, this is Ellen, the Family History Hound, and in this presentation, this information was gathered while I was at the Alberta Archives several years ago, and I found a file called the Returning Soldiers File, and in it was an application that my great-grandmother, Ellen Middlebrough, had applied for her husband to return home because she had been in a terrible train accident with her children. This was not a story that was passed on to family members. And so from there, I went to newspapers to find out more because I figured if it was a terrible train accident, it would have been in the news, and it was. So I've taken all that information and now I've put it in ChatGPT and had it write the whole story up from all the newspaper articles. And then I took it and put it in Google Notebook LM, and from that was created a podcast. And then I've just added some photographs and some clippings from the newspaper. And I hope you enjoy this. And it's just a kind of a way of presenting family history using artificial intelligence. And I find that really interesting. And I hope you do too.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a close look at a single historical event. We're using some shared source material to really understand the human side of it.
And that event is the 1917 Alberta Beach train crash. It was, well, a really significant incident near Edmonton.
Exactly. We're drawing from a document called Train Crash of 1917.pdf. And specifically, we want to focus on one family, the Middlebrows.
Right. The idea is to see how this public tragedy played out on a really personal level for them.
So what happened? Can you set the scene?
Okay, so picture this. It's July 27th, 1917, a Friday. There's a Canadian Northern Railway train, an excursion train, heading out to Alberta Beach.
Alberta Beach, right. A popular spot. Even back then, people heading out for the summer weekend.
Exactly. But near Calder, just outside Edmonton, it collided head-on with a freight train.
Head-on. That sounds devastating. And the source mentions miscommunication.
That seems to be the core issue, yeah.
Yeah.
Train orders got mixed up. The freight train was meant to pull onto a siding, sidetrack.
To let the passenger train pass.
Correct. But it hadn't fully cleared the main line when the excursion train came through. Just a terrible, terrible error.
And the immediate result?
Awful. The front coaches of the passenger train just crumpled, derailed violently. The source says 5 people died right away.
5 deaths. And injuries.
At least 41 injured. Rescue efforts kicked off fast. Locals, emergency crews, they worked to get the injured to the Royal Alex Hospital in Edmonton.
And that brings us to the Middlebrough family. They were on that excursion train.
Yes. Ellen Middlebrough, she was 32, and she had her 3 children with her.
3 young kids. Francis, who they called Frank, he was 7. Veronica was 5. And little Edna was just 3.
And importantly, their father, Francis Sr., wasn't there. He was serving overseas in World War I in France.
Oh, wow. So Ellen was managing these 3 young children alone already, and then this happens. What about her injuries?
They were very serious. The report lists her as critical. She had a fractured skull, internal injuries, needed a long time in the hospital.
A fractured skull. That's incredibly severe. And the children?
Frank, the oldest boy, seemed to recover okay, thankfully. Edna, the youngest, was also hurt, though the source doesn't give specifics.
And Veronica, the middle child.
No details mentioned about her injuries, unfortunately, but you can imagine the whole family was just thrown into chaos.
Absolutely. And the newspapers picked up on Ellen's story.
They did. She was called the plucky Beverly mother.
Plucky, that word. It says a lot about the time, doesn't it? Expecting bravery, resilience, especially from women whose husbands were away at war.
Definitely. Stoicism in the face of, well, unimaginable hardship.
So Ellen's critically injured, her kids are hurt or traumatized, and her husband is in France. What could she even do?
Well, she did something quite remarkable. She actually petitioned the Department of Defense.
Petitioned them? For what?
For compassionate leave for her husband. To have Francis Sr. brought home from the front lines temporarily to care for the children while she recovered.
That makes sense. A desperate situation. Did they grant it?
No. Her request was denied.
Denied. Ah, that's just heartbreaking. Critically injured, 3 kids, husband fighting a war, and the system couldn't bring him back.
It really underscores the immense pressures of wartime. Military needs often overshadowed even extreme family crises. It shows the strain these families were under, beyond just the separation of war.
It really does. It connects this local tragedy, this train wreck in Alberta, directly to the global conflict happening thousands of miles away.
Absolutely. And the crash itself, it was a major rail disaster for Alberta. It highlights how reliant the system was on perfect communication telegraph, written orders. One mistake could be catastrophic.
And the Middlebros, their story just puts such a human face on it all. It's not just numbers 5 dead, 41 injured. It's this mother, these children.
Exactly. Their experience, the injuries, the fear, the separation, Ellen's fight. It really shows the true cost. Her strength is incredible when you think about it.
So wrapping up this deep dive, the key point is really seeing the profound human story within the historical event. The 1917 crash was significant, yes, but the Middlebro's experience brings the impact home.
Yeah, their injuries, the denied plea for help, Ellen's resilience, it just makes it so much more real.
It really does.
And maybe a final thought for you listening. Think about those immense challenges families face during wartime. How does a localized tragedy like this intersect with and even compound those global pressures? It reveals those hidden personal costs behind the big historical headlines.